what other companies did that before? So you have Google did that, but then they had to expose what they have done as a service to the public. They have done Google search. Google search, the search algorithm actually runs on the same tech that they have built other stuff around, including Android. If you look at Google as a company, Google is a really proper deep tech company. Now, a company like OpenAI is actually still deep tech, but less deep than what Google is. This in the value chain of technology, this is as upstream. Imagine there's a river, and there is the source of the river. Going upstream means you're going to the source, going really high up in the value chain or in the industry. You're going to the source. You are becoming the source. This is where you find a company like Google. Yes, we know Gmail, we know Google Sheets, we know Google Maps, we know the Google products, but these are the things that we can play with and interact with. But these are not what Google really is. Google is something way back in the background. And these are just the things that we can familiarize ourselves with if we're not developers. Even developers, Google won't go and expose the darkest, deepest secrets to them, right? You would basically see it through a couple of layers, and then you can use it to develop with it. So that's how a company like Google functions. That's typical for a deep tech company. Deep tech companies usually take 8 to 9 years to surface, just to become stable for business. But then the profitability is crazy. And that's true about deep tech companies. They're actually a profitable business. They're not easily understood. They need lots of amount of cash to actually build, and it just doesn't resonate with most investors. Why? Because how can you invest in something you don't understand? And this is actually the challenge that most deep tech companies have. Biotech, if you look as a deep tech in life sciences, biotech is the deep tech of life sciences. They have the same issue, the same challenge. So it's very hard for them to raise funds. So we raised in AHOY close to $30 million. How did we do that? So we did not wait for our tech to mature, but at the same time, instead of doing a free service of like a search engine like Google did, luckily we had Google to look at and learn from. We went and we created something that is of value to the public. We went immediately to attack enterprise rather than attack SaaS as our paying customers. And we went and we built a couple of layers to reach use cases for enterprise. So what is AHOY active in today? What is bringing us money for people to invest in AHOY? Like why? Why are people investing in AHOY? Well, it's a profitable company today. And that's in tech kind of unheard of. And then the use cases are extremely huge and big. So for example, we have a solution that is licensable for $300 million. Crazy number, right? But it does save $50 million for a government per day in GDP, gross domestic product. So we have technologies that can orchestrate movement. This is what we do. So imagine ChatGPT, but for movement, where we are told individually what do we need to do, but all of the planning and the thinking is done by machine learning and AI. So imagine that you have something that can do that on a countrywide, and imagine that it can do dynamic policy. So I don't need a device or an app to actually tell me what to do in my own hand. Imagine dynamic speed limits. Imagine roads that are now controlled without ITS. ITS is Intelligent Traffic Systems. A company like Siemens, for example, has one, and they implement it city by city. So imagine that you don't do an ITS for roads like Siemens does and charges $100 million for, just for one city, by the way. And a lot of hardware, a lot of sensors, a lot of cameras. Imagine you can do that for a full country by connecting all the inputs and outputs. Air, marine, road, and also rail. And all of it will work in complete unison. And nice synchronization to optimize all of our time. So you're never stuck in traffic, so you're never behind an accident, so you're never in one as well. So it's not only how much life is saved, but also how much time is saved, how much energy is saved, how much less CO2 is consumed. Now imagine the same for just one company, not even a government. A company that has a lot of cars, a lot of trucks. You can actually save a lot of money as well. You can actually have more competitive advantage. When we started, we had a chocolate company cover the whole UAE market in Valentine's Day only with 5 trucks. And previously they needed 68. That is the kind of competitive advantage you can get with a technology like that. We had ambulances reach in an SLA of 3 minutes always. That's life saved as well. So, for a stroke patient, a minute could be the difference between paralyzation for life or death, actually, or living healthy and normal and not be handicapped for the rest of their lives. So, there are all of these things that we started with, but where is it going? We want to be the operating system for every single vehicle. We want to be the operating system for a vehicle on the road, a vehicle in air. We want to replace air traffic control systems. We want to enable the complete harmony between human-operated and autonomous-operated vehicles. Today, autonomous vehicles are very scary to us because it's something that's not controlled by another human, and there is no safety between me and that vehicle. So for a non-autonomous vehicle, I am a risk to it and it is a risk to me. So imagine that there is one unified platform, and I'm not talking about UTC. So if you know, UTC is a platform where all autonomous vehicles are sending their locations. But imagine that there is something much more than that. So this is the kind of thing that we're building and developing. We also are coming with our own kind of language, non-objective language, to actually help developers develop with. But today we have SDKs and APIs to help you bring that ability into your system. We have amazing shortcuts for developers who don't want to write business logic, but how deep does this go? Like what we did in AHOY, how unique is it? So I'll take you a little bit back in time to 1820. When the first optimization algorithm, and of course it was created for military, for war. And this is when, somebody like Hitler actually took advantage and with SS was able to actually take Europe so quickly as well. Why? Because they employed science. But even if you go further than that, back in time, before algorithms, the Mongols, how did the Mongols win wars? Does anybody know? They were more efficient. They put meat under their saddles. So with the friction, they would cook. So they never stopped for eating and cooking. So efficiency, optimization is something that has been accumulating in, our human development, how we evolve. And there isn't anything in this life that you can add value to. And that value is your margin, technically speaking. That value is your GDP. That value is your increase of value of money. There hasn't been anything that you can add value to without moving. Even in crypto, you can't really add value to a coin without taking it from one place to the other. The guys here, they're doing cross-chain swap. So you have to move to add value. That is an healthy rule that nobody can change. If you can optimize that movement, you can definitely increase your gains. This is the premise of what AHOY